Well, there's only one movie left. That's a positive. Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to my review for the Divergent series Allegiant. This is the third movie of 4, based on the third book of 3. So this is based on the last book, but they decided to cut the last book into 2 movies. So this is part 1 pretty much, and the next one's going to be part 2, ending the series that we've all come to know and love, the Divergent series. This is Allegiant, last one was Insurgent, the first one was just called Divergent, the next one's going to be called Allegiant, and this is going to be the second to last one. This is the penultimate, as they call it, and this movie fucking sucked a dick! You know what? Screw it. Got my phone here. I'm about to call 911 because this movie abused me. It abused me. You know how it abused me? You know what? I'll call later. This is how it abused me. It took my 2 hours. First of all, it took my money. That's robbery right there. Then it took my time, which is more important than money. My time, and it said, you know what? We're not going to entertain you even a little bit. We're going to put as little effort as we can possibly put in. Hey, if there's going to be a big set or a big thing that's supposed to look cool or whatever, we're just going to add some shitty special effects in there. We're not even going to give you the moment of going, wow, that looks cool or whatever. We're just going to put shitty CG in there. Hey, you want a moment where 2 people are fighting? We're going to have the camera just have a freaking seizure and you won't be able to tell what the hell's going on. Hey, you know what? Hey, you like when there's just character building with characters? We're going to make it so painfully boring. Not only that, we're going to make it so painfully, terribly written that you're just going to want to fucking hang yourself in the theater. You're going to wish a fucking noose. You're going to wish the Gallows, that shitty movie, actually happened in real life, where a noose just comes out of nowhere from the wall and hangs your ass. This movie is so freaking boring. That is the best way to describe the Divergent series Allegiant, which, by the way, the title has almost nothing to do with anything in the story. There's a thing about the Allegiant crew or something, or a group that is run by Octavia Spencer, and they barely focus anything on that group. So the title is even lying to you. It's such a bullshit movie, and I don't want to spend almost any time talking about it, because unlike other movies that are so bad, at least those ones were bad, but maybe not that boring, maybe terrible and made me want to gouge my eyes out, but at least it was so bad it was like I'm like, what's gonna happen next that's so bad? This one, there's just nothing. It's just so boring. It's painful. It really is. This movie, I couldn't wait to get the fuck out of that theater. It's so bad. Alright, so I guess I should explain what the story is about, okay? The story takes place, I guess, a couple months after, or a couple weeks after, a couple days after, so some set amount of time after the end of the last movie, where at the end of the last movie, Triss, played by Shailene Woodley, opens this box thing and then it tells them that, oh, Chicago, this whole place you're living in, this dystopian future, well, this is all a test or something like that. And this is a test to find a pure blood or something like that, a pure person, someone that is divergent, which means they're all of the classes or whatever, and you are the successful one, Triss, so congratulations. Come find us when you are ready or whatever. And this movie starts off with her wanting to go outside the walls of Chicago, because it's all built, like a wall's built around, because the other world, the rest of the world is uninhabitable and all that stuff. And she has to figure out what her friends for, which is of course her boyfriend, and everybody else, including her brother and a couple of her friends or whatever, and they have to go out and find out what that message meant. Who are these people that put this box thing in here and made this whole world that she's living in, the Chicago place, a test for something. And she finds out, she meets up with Jeff Daniels' character, who's David, who's the guy that runs the place, and you'll never guess what's going to happen next. But you know what? I ain't going to talk about it anymore. That's just, I guess, the setup for the plot of this movie. The setup for the plot of this movie. So there you go. Yeah. The story for this film is bad. It's really bad. but I wouldn't say it's bad because of the wooden acting or the terrible direction or the lack of thrills and tension throughout the entire movie. It's not because of that. It's not even really because of the writing too, which is awful. The dialogue and stuff like that. It's not the main reason why I think the story is really bad. The main reason why I think the story is really bad is because it's so freaking generic. It is so generic compared to other YA movie adaptations. This is so generic. We've seen this over and over again. There's nothing unique about it. Nothing. And that would be okay if you had decent characters, good acting, decent, maybe some decent dialogue changes here and there. Maybe the story itself isn't really good because it's generic. But you maybe have some good character development between characters, which means you have to have good dialogue. Maybe it would be fine. But because those things are either meh or terrible, the story looks even worse in comparison. Because the story itself, I wouldn't say it doesn't make sense. I mean, it makes sense because it's so simple and we've seen it so many times before. The story itself, I'm going to tell you right here, it's pretty much exactly the same as the Maze Runner, except the Maze Runner had the cool-ass maze. And even the second one had some cool-ass, like, zombie creatures and stuff. This has nothing. It has shitty-looking CG ships that fly around. Terrible special effects. Oh my god, I couldn't believe how bad the special effects were. You have actors that obviously don't give a shit anymore. Shailene Woodley is just mediocre in this. Most of the time, she's just walking around staring at stuff and talking to people. When she actually does something in this movie, it's very, very, like, wooden and just not believable at all. And she's just not great in this. Theo James, who plays the love interest of, what's his name, 4, is there. He has a couple of action scenes where he gets to show off his muscles, I guess, so all the ladies can be like, ooh, Theo James, I love him. I want his thing in my mouth and stuff like that. But and you could just tell he doesn't care. Shailene Woodley doesn't care. The rest of the actors don't care. Naomi Watts, who is new in the series, I guess, because she showed up like halfway through the last movie. She's pretty new in this, and you can tell she doesn't give a damn. No one cares. Well, Octavia Spencer's barely in it. She doesn't care. Ray Stevenson shows up again for maybe 2 seconds, and you can tell he doesn't care. You can tell no one cares. No one cares in this movie. The only one that gives any attempt of caring is Miles Teller. That's it. His character has always been about just being an asshole, a prick. He always has something smart to say. In the last 2 movies he did, he was my favorite parts of both of those movies. Same thing in here. He's my favorite part of this movie, acting-wise. Well, no, I would say just overall, he's my favorite part of this movie. Because every time he shows up, even if he doesn't have something funny to say, at least he's trying, which I'll give him that. I can tell he doesn't want to be there either, but at least he's trying, which no one else is. Even Jeff Daniels, who's a great actor, shows up and walks around with his hands behind his back, just like, being a businessman, pretty much. He's pretty much playing the same character he did in Steve Jobs, except in Steve Jobs, he's great. Here, he's there. He says things sometimes, and you can tell exactly where his character's going. It's all just generic and not good. And, man, I want to get back to the special effects, because I mentioned that. Oh, man, the special effects. Whew. But, yeah, there you go. That's the acting of this movie. Oh, man. This movie cost $110 million to make. Over $100 million. Where did that money go? Like, besides the actors, which I'll give them credit, there's good actors here. I mean, they might not be doing much with the material. They might not be good in the movie, but there's actors here that are good. Jeff Daniels, like I said, Naomi Watts. Shailene Woodley has proved that she's a good actress. It's just, where did that money go besides the shitty special effects? Because I can't tell, because there's no way this movie cost that much money to show us that kind of level of shitty special effects. It looks almost as worse. You know what? I would say it looks worse than London Has Fallen. The reason why I would say they look worse is because London Has Fallen cost $60 million to make. This costs almost double the amount as London Has Fallen cost to make, and this movie looks just as bad special effects wise. So that's why I say this one looks worse, because they had to have more money to make it look just as bad as London Has Fallen. This movie really, there are so many moments where some of the designs are kind of cool, but man, when they do the special effects with like some of the ships that are flying by and some of the buildings that are just like kind of like floating there. They look like generic sci-fi, really, but there's a couple of decent designs. But man, the special effects are so shiny and obviously fake looking. There's a lot of terrible green screening where the characters are right in front of like a window and there's a green screen background and it's so obviously fake. They obviously don't look like they're there, and it's really terrible. The special effects are awful, so bad, and it's kind of embarrassing considering how much this movie costs. So overall, Allegiant is a movie that is not even so bad it's fun to talk about. It's definitely not so bad it's good. It's not even so bad it's bad. It's just so bad it's boring. And boring is easily the worst thing you can do as a movie. You could be bad and you'll end up being at least more entertaining to talk about than a movie that's boring. Because when I came home, I was like, I don't even want to do this review. I'm so sleepy and bored. I want to watch something that's entertaining and interesting and well acted and well written and well directed and well everything. I just wanted to watch stuff that was better so I can get this movie out of my mind. And it's a movie that will definitely make it in my top 10 worst. It's a movie that really just bored me to tears. There was nothing even really that was so bad it's good. There was a couple of shots where the special effects were so bad that there was a couple of times where I smirked and I was like, Jesus, really? But they kept showing those special effects over and over again where I'm just like, well, screw it then. Gods of Egypt, at least, like, there were so many ridiculous, dumbass ideas where the special effects kept... Like, there was always new special effects to show off and new little dumbass ideas in that movie that just really just confused me. Like the whole space scene, like, oh, I'm still thinking about that. That movie's still memorable to me. I love that movie in comparison to this. This movie, there's nothing good about it. Nothing. It's just a fucking boring movie. There you go. My review for Allegiant, it sucks the D. I'm going to give this one, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to give this an 8 out of a 40. I hated it. I really did. It was 2 hours. There was nothing good about it. Miles Teller tried. I'll give him that credit. And there's a couple of moments where I giggled. But besides that, it was freaking boring. Boring movie. And yeah, the next one, I don't even know. I don't know. Please, I don't want to see the next one. I don't. Hey, you know what? Before I end this review, I have to give The Maze Runner even more kudos. They decided to keep that last movie one movie. So kudos there, too. I'm actually looking forward to seeing that. Because, man, this sucked. This sucked so bad. So there you go. That's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Until next time, goodbye.